Peace and much love, good people. What it do? It is your boy Partman, Mr. 925. Ndambo yomhlakasi wetitha zachukeka. Welcome to yet another episode of Wisdom Thursday. And yeah, man, I think it is kind of tricky because this is the second video I'm recording. The first one I think I recorded it around 8 and it got deleted. This is the second video I'm recording and it's like past 1 a.m. So it is indeed a time of wisdom. But before I begin this video, I would like us to take a moment and have a moment of silence for one of our icons who passed away yesterday, Riky Rick, Mr. Mercado, who's an icon. Truly one of my greatest inspiration in life. So I'd like us to have a moment of silence. That's why the candle is light up, and then yeah. Right, now that we are done, oh man, I think it is kind of sad, you know. It is kind of sad. Yesterday when I received the news, I couldn't believe it myself. I still can't believe it even now, you know. Hence why I decided, you know what, let me dedicate this Wisdom Thursday to our very own icon, Riky Rick. And this one is called Wisdom Takeaways from Riky Rick. You know, first I think I'd like to start on this point of, or I'd like to quote Fela Kuti, you know, when he said music is a spiritual thing, you know. And I think about the brother that has left us and how he was able to capture most of his wisdom and channel it through music, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with Riky Rick's craft. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with Ricky's work and just him as a person, you know. It was through the music, you know. And my first kiss with Riky you know, which I mean not physical kiss, but like me getting introduced to Riky was by a song called Nafukwa. You know, Fokelena Nafukwa, Fokelena Nafukwa, Eke Stephen. I just wanna dance, nigga. Yeah, that was the song that really captured me and that really like shifted my eyes to say, hey, here's a person that we should be tracking here. Kiyo Mutelo Renkare has got something to feed the soul, because I'm one person that really listens to music that smoothens the soul, that speaks to the mind, that speaks of progression, and that speaks of issues that really surround our society, you know. And I just want to start by saying I'm grateful for the fact that Riky was able to capture his wisdom and channel it through music. And I want to start by acknowledging his project Family Values. You know, just even the term family value itself does say, you know, it comes with a lot of wisdom, you know. It comes with a lot of wisdom, which this show is about mostly, you know. We get wisdom from either a book, music, or an elder. Wisdom that can really amplify our lives, you know. And I just want to start by the first song that really I feel like has so much wisdom, and that has also helped me as a young man in my life in terms of progressing forward. The song is from this project called Family Values, and the title of the song is Papa Song. You know, so Papa Song, Riky Rick mostly addresses the issue of, you know, having an absent father in his life, and how he as a child had to battle, you know, finding his identity and understanding what's happening. The next thing you have your dad, the next thing they're not there, you know, you have to attend like basketball, matches, and you look at the stairs and your role model or your father figure is not there. He tackles such issues that I feel like in South Africa today they're the biggest issue. But one of the wisdom that he touches on there for me on that song is the fact that you can't always be in the same place as a person, regardless of your struggle. That song really took me from A to Z in terms of like the issues I was dealing with, from like a background of growing up without a dad, dealing with those emotions, blaming the world, making excuses because of the lack of a father figure in my life. But Riky was one of the first people that said that in music, or one of the first people that I got to listen to that addressed such an issue via music, and like in also how he addressed that, he made it a point that he wasn't just, behind the mic and rapping or singing, but he was talking to someone. And to me, it seemed as if he was talking to himself. But him talking to himself sort of reflected to him talking to everybody else that shared the same sentiments. And I loved the fact that he mentions also in the song that Mama says you have to pick yourself up, because the world doesn't revolve around you, and the world doesn't revolve around excuses of you not having a father. So at some point you have to look at that as an example, as a standard to say, I need to surpass this standard and become a better father, a father that I never had, or become a better man, a man that I wasn't taught to be, but better that situation or better that outcome. And also the wisdom that I get from that project was also the fact that Riky really respected women in a time when like women are just seen as things not to be respected, if I might put it in that sense. But he really gave me a great example of how to treat a woman. And also like go family values, you can also tell this is now a young man transitioning from this manhood that is stereotypical, that is formed by society, that is society rules bond to say this is how a man should be, is moving away from that and transitioning into finding his own identity, forming his own identity, and leaving those old concepts and old beliefs of what a man should be and what a man should act like, or what a father should act like. In this album he shows his vulnerability. He opens up about his past life and the temptations that he still has to deal with, even though he wants to become a better man. And I feel like it's a project that a lot of us guys should go and catch up with, because we are going to learn a lot of things from that project. Also, like what I learned from Riky Rick was the fact that he is very intentional in everything that he does, which I feel like nowadays a lot of us are not really intentional with what we do. We just do because we have to do. Like, I'm just thinking about the fact that I recorded this video at about like 8 and I was busy just editing, and by the time I was done editing the video, I lost the video, and I couldn't even sleep just thinking about the fact that okay, tomorrow is Wisdom Thursday and I have nothing to show for it, and I can't make excuses and say I lost the video. I think that spirit of being intentional with things or about things that you care about is the one that woke me up and said, hey, go and do this thing. If you really care about this thing, wake up, go and do this thing. Understand? So that's one of the wisdom that I got from this hero, that in life, if you really want to become something great, you need to be intentional with the things that you do or the things that you are passionate about, right? No one is going to come and spoon feed you. No one is going to come and support you if you don't support yourself, if you don't support your craft, if you don't put in the work, and if you're not intentional with what you are trying to attain or achieve, right? Now moving out of the project family values and just getting into Riky as a person, what I am learning, or what I've learned about Riky Rick, is the fact that, he somehow managed to break the chains, break out of the cage of abantu bazothini syndrome, which I feel like in today's time it's something that most of us are still struggling with. We want to do a lot of things, but we are always considering other people first. Okay, if I go jump the cliff, yes, I'm from the hood in Sefine Town. I also remember when I started my podcast and someone was saying to me, no one will listen to your podcast here in the hood, and for a minute it sort of like pushed me back and thinking, oh, people don't understand this concept, or people won't understand what a podcast is. But I still have to do it regardless, because other people will get it, and it was a difficult transition to move out of that syndrome of abantu bazothini, because it challenges you to see yourself for who you really are, and it also challenges you to, it tests basically if you're really about this thing or you're not, and from the life of Riky, what I've sort of gathered was the fact that he managed to break out of that cage. We saw that by how he was dressing, we saw that by how he was even like outspoken about the things that he cared about. I'm not sure if some of you still remember, but remember that whole award thing that happened where he spoke against corruption. He never cared about what the superiors, or the authorities would say. So he managed to break out of that abantu bazothini syndrome. Today he has like this big company, these agencies, these hit records, this street cred, this fashion cred that he has built. And I don't think Uguti, he built that out of abantu bazothini syndrome. He had to sort of escape that in order for him to build, that level of success, to expand his career, or magnify his career to the point that it is today. It's quite deep. It really is quite deep when you look. This icon was a walking instrument. He was a walking model of positivity. I loved the fact that he was fearless. And being fearless just means breaking out of that abantu bazothini syndrome. That's the wisdom that I'm getting. Most of us really want to achieve great things, but we will never achieve those great things because we are always putting other people first as our wall to block us from doing those things. Or we are always putting other people first. Or we are trying to impress, or maybe get validation from other people or approval for us to do things. And when I speak of this, I remember just one day attending like a seminar at Switch, and I remember the two ladies, Claire, and I'll remember the other lady's name, when they said to us, in this world, if the world won't qualify you, qualify yourself with the things that you love. Foster. DJ Spoo would put it in that sense. Mzegeze would put it in that sense to say foster Jerome Mzegeze. And Riky was one of those people that showed us that perseverance will get you to the end of the tunnel, will get you to the end of your goals, will get you, to attain your dreams as long as you persevere and not give up. When you look at this guy's history, he was also an addict. a drug addict at some point. I read that on a Hype magazine, you know. And how many drug addicts survive to become this successful? You know, think about the stages that he had to pass through, the judgment, you know, the doors closing on him because of that history of substance, you know. But he was able to persevere. He was able to still push through. He was still able to see himself beyond the circumstances that he was in at that time, and see himself as the final product, as the final, you know, manifestation of what he had portrayed, you know, in his thoughts. Those are some of the wisdom that I picked pocket from Riky's life, you know. And I just also want to say that more than anything, man, I feel like Riky was a leader with no title, if you look at it. Because yes, he had titles such as he was a musician, he was a producer, he was a fashion icon, you know. But when you sit down and really direct it towards his authenticness, it will bring you down to just one aspect, you know. And that aspect for me is Riky was just plain human, you know. He wasn't perfect at all, he was just human. And how do I see that he was human? Because first and foremost, he was down to earth. Yes, he had like this hype energy that we all love, you know, which way that way, which way that way, you know. But more than anything, what I loved about his spirit was that he was a humble being, even with all this success that he managed to attain in his life, you know. And like one statement I can support that with is the fact that he was able to help others succeed, you know, which I feel like that's the rule of the universe. If you want to be successful, help someone else succeed. And he has helped so many people reach the pinnacles of their career, you know. He has helped so many people move out from, you know, the trenches to a better spot in their lives. He has upgraded so many people's lives, you know. And you know, in order for someone to be that vessel, they need to be synced. They need to be one with themselves, understand themselves and understand their role in this universe, you know. And hence why I'm saying that he was human. Yes, he had egos, like I said, he wasn't perfect and all of those things, just like any other human. Even like at grassroots level, we have people that have egos, you know. But for me now, like, he was human based on the fact that he knew how important it was to support other people's dreams, to support other people succeed. And I think that's one of the reasons why he was able to succeed as well, you know. And I say also he was human because of he cared about young people's issues. He cared about our country's issues, and he spoke. He was outspoken about them. And today, how many people still care? Like care. How many people care about their dreams? How many people care about issues that affect society? How many people care about their families? How many people care even about themselves? You know, not a lot of people. Not a lot of people, you know. And I think that's one thing that we need to take away from Riky's life. That's like a profound wisdom. That in as much as we look at this world as this hardcore world, this closing in, selfish, you know, want to put you down world, but we also need to look at that aspect of still having a heart, you know, being compassionate and really caring, you know, and not acting as if you care, but deep down uzikhathalele indaba zakho, uzikhathalele indaba zabanye abantu. And I'm not saying mind other people's business, no. I'm saying, care about environmental issues, care about the other person. Most of us today, we are so selfish and selfless that, not even selfless, we are so selfish. We just want to be the only ones that succeed. We want to be the only ones that get praised. We want to be the only ones, abashayela izandla. We don't want to clap for other people. We don't want to push other people to succeed. We don't want to share, opportunities or information that can help other people succeed. And that's one of the biggest fall about, I assume, about humankind. We are falling so badly and deeply because of, we have sort of only looked at ourselves and closed in on ourselves and kept everything on ourselves, and we only want to take, and we don't want to give. And when you look at Ricky's life, he was a giver, hence why he was able to assist other people succeed. And that's the wisdom that I'm getting. The fact that he was outspoken, the fact that he believed in the power of his dreams, and the fact that Riky was able to share information at a time and point where sharing such crucial information would get you crucified or cancelled by the corporate world or the authorities or the people that were hugging into that information. But he always thought about the kids. To him, he was always like, I can't be the only one at the top. I can't be the only one at the top. And I say that nkare like I was his best friend. No. I say that because I can feel his energy, his authenticness about how he moved and how he thought about things, And I feel like we used to stay in the same room. And I say that because of the music that he gave us, the music that he gave me. I don't think a week would end without me playing a Riky song, or me rapping a Riky lyric, or me referencing, from Rick. Uncle Ricky, man. His life was just an ocean full of wisdom, And I think that it's unfair that we have to celebrate him when he's gone. But I feel like it's important to go back into that ocean of wisdom that Riky was, and learn from it and wash with that ocean, so that we can also absorb the wisdom, or Ricky's wisdom, that he shared with us, that we missed along the way because of our own selfishness or our own agendas in life, in general. One of the things also I resonated with in life of Riky was the fact that he was God-fearing, and I feel like that's the biggest wisdom that as young people we should learn. There's this whole notion that we are gods. Everywhere you go, a young person will be saying they are gods. But I just want to remind everyone that yes, true. We are made out of the image of God. We are gods, but we shouldn't forget that we are gods with small g's, not capital G's. There's a God with a capital G. And when I say that, I'm not saying I understand that we all have our own beliefs, but what I'm trying to say is that at least we need to have something above us that we look up to, that we can bow to, and I don't see a lot of young people believing in something bigger than them. I see a lot of young people being so self-absorbed with themselves, thinking, I'm the God, I manifest. Yes, we manifest things, but there is a higher power, that channels through us. And some of those things that we manifest, they not only from us. And I think then it also brings me to a point where I'm going to say that gratitude, is one of those things that I feel like Riky had as well, because he was so grateful of his life, and that's something that we need to also take from him, that we need to have gratitude more life in, I am because you are, umuntu ngabantu. Yes, some of the things that we have attained in our lives, we have worked hard for, but some of the things that we have attained in our lives is because of our mother's prayers. It is because of other people's ripple effects. It is because of other people cared so much to say, I am going to push this person, or I'm going to share this knowledge with this person, or I'm going to share this opportunity with this person, so that I'm not the only one that is succeeding, but we can all succeed as a community as a whole, and those are some of the wisdom that I'm grasping from Riky, and I think, like what I said when this video was starting, that he was very intentional with how he moved and how he did things, and we have seen that unfold in our eyes, publicly and privately, and I know that for so many of us, we have personalized Riky as our own, in terms of like music that he did for us. I still say that his music, he was very intentional with his music, and he knew that his music, he knew that there was power in music. I think he understood when Fela Kuti said music is a spiritual thing, and he took it upon himself to make sure that his music uplifts, his music heals, and his music, ripples as a positive effect into young people's life, or into the pop culture, or into anyone that listens, to Riky's music, and with that said, man, I just would really want to say, rest in power, great one, rest in power, Makalo, rest in power, legend, rest in power, Riky, man, rest in power, Boss Zonke. I don't know what pop culture is going to look like, or how it's going to move, or how it's going to expand, because you were sort of like the only figure that was building something that is bigger than us, and that is bigger than you, and you were like the only figure in my eyes in South Africa that understood building a legacy, not only for yourself but for the generations to come. I wonder now, so what's gonna happen with the Cotton Fest and everything else that you brought in, that you contributed with in making this pop culture what it is today, But shout outs for everything that you've done for everyone that you've touched, And I also want to say condolences, send my deepest condolences to Riky's family and Riky's friends. We love you, Riky, and we'll forever be grateful for what you've done for this culture, And with that said, man, I just want to say, Boss Zonke, Boss Nonke, agananda ba unehaba kwamashuna semlazi umswenko bayamazi election sabane semasaba b sabane sama dun 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 dun. Yeah, with that said, also please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, the People's Journal Podcast. Other than that, let's meet again next week Thursday on Wisdom Thursday. Love, light, and peace.